Hi guys, welcome to today's video, and today I have something very special for you guys. I'm going to do a review, documentation, and demo of this really cool guitar right here. This is the Ibanez Egen18. It is Herman Lee's signature guitar, and overall this is going to be a very special video for me because this was one of those guitars that I always wanted as a teenager but I could never quite afford. So especially if I end up selling this guitar, this video will mean all that much to me. Okay guys, so this guitar has like a million specs and features, so let's dive right into it. First of all, the pickups are coil tapped, which means you can turn them into single coil simply by pulling the volume knob like I did just now. This guitar has 9 different pickup combinations depending on where the blade switch is positioned and whether or not the volume pot is pushed or pulled, which make these pickups insanely versatile. Not only that, but they sound really good. These are DiMarzio Herman Lee pickups. They're his signature pickups. They were never produced outside of the purpose of being installed on these guitars, which is a shame because if I had another set of these, I would totally put them on my PRS or something. Also, if you guys notice, the pickup ring on the neck position is cut off for the pickup to be a little closer to the neck. That was done on purpose so that the neck pickup would have a warmer tone, like the pickups on a 22 fret guitar. And Ibanez started doing this on all their S series guitars afterwards, so good job, Ibanez. Also, the input jack is on the side there. It's kind of slanted into the guitar. This guitar is so thin that it's basically impossible to put the input jack on the side. So the bridge on this guitar is an Ibanez Edge Zero, which is honestly one of the most technologically advanced bridges that I've ever owned or seen. Basically, every piece of it has a purpose. For example, that little knob that I'm turning is a trem stop. And say you're doing whammy pulls on, or like squeals like Dimebag, and you want them to land at a perfect A once you pull on the whammy bar, you adjust that knob and it'll stop the bridge right where you want it to. It's insane how much thought and technology they put into this single bridge. And the only downside I can think of is that if any part breaks or corrodes and you need a replacement, it's either going to be insanely expensive or impossible to do so. The inlay work on this guitar is great. The Ibanez headstock logo has this beautiful luster to it that makes it apparent that it's made out of pearl. I'll try to capture it from a different angle because I don't have that great of lighting from this angle right now, but yeah, it just looks beautiful. It's more apparent on the fret markers of the guitar. Even though the fret markers are pretty plain and simple, they're basically just oval, they still look and luster beautifully. This guitar has 24 frets and the last 4 frets are scalloped. And a lot of people on the internet bitch that it makes it hard to control the pitch on the upper frets, on the ones that are scalloped, because not only do you have to be mindful of how much you bend the string, but how much pressure you put on them. This isn't a problem if you use any string gauge that's higher than 9s. This guitar has 10 gauge strings on right now, and as you guys can see, even though I'm putting a lot of pressure on the scalloped frets, they don't budge downwards much. So no complaints from me there. If anything, I got a compliment that they actually do ring a little better once you play in those upper frets. So I'm the second owner of this particular guitar, and even though the original owner didn't play it much, I don't know what he did with it. I think he just left it hanging from his wall for too long, but there's this strange dust accumulation that's over the paint, or it's actually not even over the paint, it's flush with the paint, and I don't know how to get rid of this basically. It does seem to go away on its own as the matte finish fades into gloss, but if any of you guys out there know how to get rid of this without changing the paint or damaging the paint, please let me know in the comments, and I would greatly appreciate that. Besides that, I can't really bitch about this quote unquote damage much because it helped me get this guitar for a fraction of its price. And basically, I got this guitar mainly for the tones it would give me, those Necrophagist or Steve Vai or Dragonforce tones, and it basically delivers on that. And the only effect that little dust accumulation has on this guitar is that it just makes it look dirty from certain angles. So the back of this guitar has the same purple satin finish as the front. Of course, the bridge system is super technologically advanced, as I stated earlier. So on the back, you have what Ibanez calls the 0 point system. Basically, with that knob on the left, you control how much tension you put on the springs, and it makes It's so that you eliminate a lot of the bullshit you put up with when you deal with regular Floyd Roses when it's changing strings or tunings or stuff like that. This guitar is also equipped with a Wizard 3 5-piece neck, and although in the past I've expressed that I don't like bolt-on construction in my guitars, this is not a problem with Ibanez guitars. They're definitely the exception. The reason being is I usually see cracks on the neck joint, or like the neck goes out of alignment on bolt-on construction guitars, but I haven't seen this be a problem with Ibanez guitars, even on their cheaper end versions. I did install locking tuners on this guitar, which just makes it a great guitar overall. I feel like that was the final step into making it like an insanely good guitar even by modern standards, because everything else it pretty much has. This guitar also has what Herman calls the Kung Fu grip. Basically, on the top horn of this guitar, they carved his handprint so that he could hold it in many wacky ways. It's really cool, and I'll showcase this for you guys in the multiple angle view. The bottom of this guitar has an axis carving, which makes it really easy to reach the higher frets, especially when you're playing standing up. Also, if it's not obvious from the video, this guitar is super thin. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that the volume knob on this guitar is super sensitive. I don't know if that was done on purpose or if it's something that just is with push-pull pots, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's definitely beneficial when you're trying to do violin swells like Yngwie, but also if you're not used to playing with this kind of guitar, you can just be playing there and you'll rub off against the volume knob slightly and it'll kill half your volume because it's that sensitive. In my opinion, I kind of like it for the volume swells, but I know for a lot of people it can be a pain in the ass. Also, this guitar might be discontinued. We don't know as of right now because Herman basically in all his Ibanez's covered the headstock logo, as well as he had basically every other guitar manufacturer make him a custom guitar. So we don't know where he stands in terms of guitar endorsement right now. There is a different version of this guitar out there, a cheaper version. It's the Ibanez Egen18 and it comes in platinum blonde color. I did own that guitar at one point, but I just ended up selling it. Even though it was 90% as good as the Egen18, I just hated the trem system. Like the whammy bar was flimsy, and it's worth noting that even Herman changed the bridge on his Ibanez Egen8. But yeah, it was still a really good guitar. Again, 90% as good as the Egen18, but I just couldn't get used to the bridge, and it would have been way too expensive to have it replaced.
So the first thing you'll notice with this guitar after holding it or playing it after a little while is that it's super comfortable, whether you play standing up, if you play sitting down, if you hold it as I am right now, if you hold it by the Kung Fu grip, if you're holding it for display. It's just a great guitar to hold because it's super comfortable. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that this guitar only weighs 3 to 4 pounds. Super lightweight, but it's as lightweight as it needs to be while still maintaining its super high quality. The axis carve does make it a lot easier to reach the higher frets when you're playing standing up. And overall, this is just an incredibly well thought of and designed guitar. Herman Li stated that he just wanted to make the best guitar possible at the time. And he definitely accomplished that in a way. This is one of the best guitars, period. And basically what Herman Li did with this guitar is what Steve Vai did with the RG series when he made the Gem. He basically improved on everything the Gem could be improved on and made one of the best guitars ever. And I truly believe Herman Li did the same with this guitar. Honestly, this is exactly what I expect from a very expensive guitar. You know, 1,000,000 specs, incredibly well designed. And, you know, like for this price point, if you get a Gibson that's in the same price range, you're going to get something that's not as good, in my opinion. Of course, when you buy Gibsons, you pay more for the brand and the logo than the actual guitar. So I just have to put that out there. This right here is a jet plane, while Gibson's still trying to reinvent the wheel, in my opinion. Of course, all you Gibson owners out there are probably gonna fucking hate me now, but it's okay. It's just my opinion. Don't get butthurt. The only reason I would sell this guitar is because I don't play it enough to justify owning a guitar that's expensive. Basically, if I buy this guitar or have a guitar in this price range, I'm going to make it my main guitar and use the heck out of it. But this guitar mostly lives in its case, and I just take it out once in a while to, you know, if I want to record a certain section that has a really cool necrophagist tone or something like that, that's what I'll use it for. But besides that, it mostly just lives on its case. The tremolo system, or the whammy bar system I should say, it's super clever like the rest of the bridge system. Basically, it pops in and then screws in, which provides you with an extra layer of support. And if you've seen how Herman Lee holds his guitar up in the air just by the whammy bar, you'll see that this is crucial to make a very durable tremolo system, especially for Herman Lee. But really cool system. Again, the only downside is that if anything breaks, it'll be super expensive or impossible to repair. If it wasn't obvious from the previous footage, this guitar did come with a custom case, which keeps the guitar super snug and super protected. I also kept the original box for this guitar, which if I end up selling this guitar, I'm sure the buyer will greatly appreciate that. I don't think many individuals who bought this guitar kept the original box, so that'll for sure be a selling point if I end up selling this guitar. At this point, I have this guitar priced high enough that if I end up selling it, I can't bitch about it because I'll make a good profit. But if I end up not selling this guitar, I'm not going to complain, I'm just going to keep it. So final thoughts on this guitar. In terms of sound, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. These pickups sound amazing and they are insanely versatile. In terms of construction, I would give this guitar a 9.5 out of 10. It's definitely built to last you a very long time. It's very well built. In terms of aesthetics, I would give this guitar also a 9.5 out of 10. It just looks great and it's a beautiful guitar all around. In terms of feel, I would give this guitar a 9.5 out of 10 as well. It just feels super comfortable however you hold it, however you play it. They definitely went all out with this guitar in terms of design, in terms of looks, and it's honestly one of the best guitars I've ever owned. I definitely prefer this guitar over a gem, and I know that's a personal preference, but I feel like this guitar was a little better built, and I have owned a few gems which were not hard for me to sell, but this guitar I feel like it's a little harder for me to sell because it just delivers a little more than the gems. Okay guys, so thank you guys so much for watching. Right now I'm just showing you the goodies that are in the case. Basically the manual, the whammy bar, all the Ibanez factory goodies are in there, as well as the original tuners. Whoever ends up buying this guitar, I'm gonna give them the original Goto non-lucky tuners just to be a good guy. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about this guitar, just drop them in the comments and I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. Besides that, you guys stay safe and I'll see you in the next video.